discourse about Gita ji, and I have seen many instances where they would try to put the fear of afterlife to actually either to serve their purpose of whatever their internal purpose may be, like either collecting money for the temples which they are building. The question in the people's mind is that they would, what is your duty here in terms of you can serve human being or you just do bhajan to reach to get God, right? So there are different ways to do it. But my question is pretty broad, but in terms of why, like how can we resolve ourselves not to get feared by these kind of fears?
Very good question. Very, very important question. Thanks a lot for this. Yes, of course. I have been very bitter and very caustic against these people. People exploiting Sanatana Dharma and some of the concepts of Sanatana Dharma. But one thing, it's again playing on the weaknesses of the people. Many people have so much of curiosity, deadly curiosity for this rebirth and reincarnation, punarjanma and all that. They are not curious about tomorrow, they are curious about some other birth. I can't understand. Why? Because they are driven by so many desires. At least in my next birth, I should be like Amitabh Bachchan, or I should be like Aishwarya Rai, something like that. So, all that unfulfilled and yet to be fulfilled desires will be postponed to the other birth. So, all this hallucination and fanciful things have been developed. Rebirth, concept of rebirth and other things, they have their own uses as well. One should be righteous, one should be loyal for its own sake, or else he will be punished or penalized or rewarded. This is a prarochana. And one thing we have to bear in mind, that is, Sanatana Dharma's emphasis is far more on experience and lesser on beliefs. Yes, Sanatana Dharma has some belief, but belief is only secondary or tertiary or yantari. Primary and primordial importance is given to experience. And experience is not an isolated one, universal experience. Universal experience is one thing, that is Satchidananda. Ananda. That is beyond any attributes, beyond any frames. What the Ananda we experience in the bliss of deep sleep, that is something like that. Just to see, even when we are beholding beautiful things, when we are listening to melodious music, when we are reading beautiful book, or when we are watching wonderful dance or film or whatever, what are the words generally we use? Manohara, Chittapahara, Chittakarshaka, Chetohara, Man har gaya, man bhool gaya, dil bhool gaya, like that. In Tamil we say, Ennai naan marandite, Odambu marandu pochi, Manam marandu pochi, Mai marate, Manasu kavvinchindi, Mai marchipoyanu, Murisipoyanu. All these things, what they mean? Forgetting mind, coming out of the clutches of mind. Mind is the seat of all dualities. All attributes of space and time are products of mind. So, this joy, J capital joy, B capital bliss, that is beyond attributes of space and time. And that is experience of one and all. There we need no reference and no cross verification. Was I happy in my sound sleep? Do we have any such questions? If somebody says even my sound sleep also, I was feeling that I am a Shatabdani, I am so and so, means people very easily say he is bluffing. He is just uttering a lie. So this Swatah Pramana means self-evaluated and self-attested thing is there, and that is the basis of Sanatana Dharma. Unfortunately, I am so fed up with people saying Karma Siddhanta is the bedrock of Sanatana Dharma, Punarjanma Siddhanta is the bedrock of Sanatana Dharma. No, they are small bricks in the biggest mansion of Sanatana Dharma. The real bedrock of Sanatana Dharma is Ananda and Ananda Eva, Satchidananda. For that we need no book, we need no Babas, we need no Swamijis, we need nothing and nothing. We need only thing is true, being true to one's own self, and that is true to the universe as well. And here, when it comes to that picture, Punarjanma and other things, well, I have not experienced. So what I can say, as an evidence I can quote some books. And anybody at any time may contradict a book. Or else some stray examples, X had felt that, Y had felt that, N had felt that, J had felt that. People may say, another A, another B, another C have no such feeling. Then what to do? So these become beliefs is always debatable. So don't harp more on beliefs. Unfortunately, our desires are always driven by beliefs. So lesser the desires, lesser will be the baggage of belief. More will be our exposure and our steadfastness towards experience. Well, if it is so, let it be. If Punarjanma is there, I am not having any aversion to it. Let it come. For a better Punarjanma, should I not be good? Being true to one's own self is the highest good. Uddhared atmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet. In the great Kumarvyasa Bharata of Kannada, in 15th century, a great poet, gifted poet, comparable with respect to Shakespeare in terms of exuberance of expression, I have not found in any of the Indian languages such a wonderful expression, even in Sanskrit. If he had written in Sanskrit, Kalidasa would have been challenged very easily. Such a great poet is Kumarvyasa. He concises Bhagavad Gita there. And there, one line he says, which is not found in Bhagavad Gita. Well, Arjuna is saying, I am not for war, I will run away, and all that. Krishna says, you are scared of Himsa, but don't forget that being untrue to yourself is the greatest Himsa you are incurring to yourself. Living in the world of Ajnana is the highest Himsa that you are incurring against your own Atman, he says. So, being untrue to one's own self, that is the highest sin, for that any Punarjanma will have a very bad effect. Unfortunately, the people who are advocating on beliefs, often we can very easily know. Any person who comes with a special agenda of uplifting his ashrama, without any shrama, we can say, is a culprit. That's why one need not bother about such. But what to do? Any system will be misused. I remember a story. Once a king wanted to see that the whole empire will be corruption free. And who is a corrupt, his nose should be chopped off. That's why he made an order, and one officer was appointed for that. His duty is only to chop off the noses of people who are corrupt. Within few months, he became a trillionaire. Then inquiry was made. Had he left off people who are bribing without chopping off the nose? No, he was. But he had two knives. One was a sharp and sterilized knife. Other was not. A blunt and unsterilized. People who are paying bribe to him, they were given a special treatment of chopping off like that. So any system can be exploited for corruption, but it may go to an extent. But you should not be bothered by that. We should try to answer them rightly, properly. No, this is not the way. So this is the thing. We cannot settle such relative issues once for all. They have to be managed day to day. How to resolve the issue of my stomach and hunger? Once for all, I should die or I should become immortal. None of them are possible. So every day I have to manage it. So such people have to be managed rightly. You have to manhandle or woman handle. I don't mean anything. Anyway, we have to do it. But according to Vedanta, Janmas have little bearing on the highest truth. Even the Varnas, births as well. So it is ultimately the intrinsic good. And that's why the definition of Dharma Dhriti Kshama Damo Himsa Shaucham Indriya Nigraha Dhir Vidya Satyam Akrodho Dashakam Dharma Lakshana. Dhriti, steadfastness. Kshama, withstanding power. And to forgive without stigma. Ahimsa, Dama, self-control, control over the senses, both mind and body. Satyam, truth. Vidya, learning. That learning which liberates us from ignorance and fear. That learning which liberates us from fear, sorrow, and possessiveness. That is the real wisdom, and that is the real jnana, vidya. Akrodha, it's not being subjected to anger, not being succumbed to anger, and of course non-avariciousness, aspraha. These are all the fundamental features of dharma, dashakam dharma lakshanam. Here nothing is said about punarjanma or swarga or naraka or prophet or God or heaven or hell or whatever. All these are experienced and realized now and here. And that's why this now and here is far more important than anything and everything. With this, one can resolve the issues better. Please.